Hitomi, welcome to Shape Your Pottery and share with me what is something you believe everyone in the pottery world should be doing?
Hello. Everybody in the pottery industry should just be doing what makes them happy, I believe. Like, why are you doing pottery? I'm hoping it brings you joy. That I think is number one.
Absolutely agree. Shaping Nation, the reason why we got into pottery because it brought us joy. So make what you want to make and continue pursuing that joy. Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
So now, tell me the story how you got started making pottery.
Let's see, like pre COVID, or maybe it was right when COVID hit, I was working at a company and we needed to do some sort of like team bonding, but how do we do that virtually? So I found this company called Sculpt, which is like a pottery kit. And it was perfect because then you could just send it to everybody anywhere. And then we all went on a Zoom call and we're like, let's just do pottery today. So it was like, a good 30 minutes to an hour of just making it fun. And then that just kind of made me think like, hey, is this something I want to just tap into? And I was fortunate where like less than 3 miles away, there was a ceramic studio. So I went in for a class, fell in love with it, and I was like, let's keep doing this. So yeah, it was like pretty much like majority of the COVID hobbyists. I feel like I started from that, but it's been super fun. So uh, it's just so humbling, but at the same time like meditative. So, I recommend it to everybody.
What were you feeling when you took your first pottery class?
I mean, I went in being very low expectations on my end. A lot of times at these intro classes, they'll be like, you're going to leave with a bowl. So I went in being like, if I could make a container, that's all that matters. And, obviously the instructor theirs are very, very helpful. So you come out with a bowl. And I think that was enough to make me feel like I could do this. And so, yeah, I just kept on going back and never looked back since.
Absolutely love that. So, you contribute your growth as an artist to digital media. Can you tell me more about this?
Yeah, I mean, so before becoming a full time ceramicist, I share on my Instagram that I was a marine biologist, which I was. But then I did a career change to be in digital media. So I worked at companies like BuzzFeed and Patreon and worked on their, really pushing video production, that kind of stuff. And from that, it literally like taught me everything I need to know about how social media works and like how to engage with audience and all that kind of stuff. And, obviously like their goals are very much different from I think individuals' goals on social media, but it did give me a good understanding of like, well, why am I going to use social media to grow and do I need it to grow? So I think really going into the full-time artist mode, the power of social media is insanely beneficial in that way. It's in a way it's free marketing. So if anybody needs to do anything marketing wise, I feel like social media is like a great way. And I think now too, small businesses are something that like people value. Authenticity is what people value. And I think as long as you're upfront with what you do and the people, whether they find you on social media or find you through a search or whatever it is, like it's a great way to connect with people, especially like, I don't want to call them my audience, my followers, because I want them to be more than that. But I think like finding the same like mindset mentality people is always great. And then obviously for me, it's like I like to make marine things. So if I could find another marine nerd, that makes my day. So
Absolutely love that. So we'll talk more about social media in a little bit, but so you mentioned that you were a marine biologist. How did that impact the way you make your pottery today?
yeah, all of it. I love understanding like, animal anatomy, functionality, that kind of stuff. So everything that I make, I mean, and this is the beauty of ceramics, right? Like if you could think it, you can make it. Like nothing will hold you back kind of thing. So a lot of times when it comes to marine ceramic pieces, let's say. Like it tends to be very touristy, like something you would find at a, boardwalk souvenir shop, that kind of thing. Or you could go like the super classy route. Either way, it doesn't matter. I think I was looking for what I want. And for me, anything that is like marine mammal, just because that's kind of what I specialized in. Like I know it, I feel it, I could like, I know what makes me happy about it. So just being able to put that into clay form would make me happy. And then on top of that, if I could use it every day, then I have a reason to be like, yeah, I made this for a purpose. So that's just like just for me. But
Absolutely love that. So let's talk more about your pottery. Can you tell me the story how you started making the pottery that you make today?
yeah, I feel like I started making the pottery I make today because again, one, like I wanted, and for everything I make, I want it to be functional. I love the idea of decorating, but I personally don't do it as well as I think I would. So in that case, again, like I want to make something that is going to be held every day. I want to make something that's going to be looked at and used every day. And I totally understand that everybody looks at art differently. There are so many beautiful paintings and, other objects that I think has a lot of value for people individually. But for me, I just want something that, if I'm going to have coffee every morning, I want, like I think any of us, like we open our shelves, we find which mugs we want to choose for that day's coffee. And I just want my mug to be in the options of like, I want to use that mug today. So it kind of gives me that like, what is the function today? What brings me happiness today? And then if that piece could do that, then amazing. And not just mugs, like whether it be plates or containers, whatever, all the things that I make, I think it's like, what are the everyday things I do that could add this like element of marineness to it, then that makes my day. So yeah.
Absolutely love that. What advice would you give to someone that wants to bring more joy to their own pottery?
I think that's not something I could say to them because I think everybody's journey is different. I hope that anybody doing pottery currently is just enjoying themselves. Like, and a lot of it too, like I've only been doing pottery I'm on my third year, which is like fairly new. And I'm making mistakes every day. Like I'm learning every single day. And personally, I enjoy that. Like I like those mistakes. Like I'll make a version and be like, but the next one could be better. And the next one could be better. And I think those are things that like makes it really fun. So I think for anybody else, it's like, know that it's okay, that things will change. Know that from anything you make, you're going to learn from it. And then let's just keep on riding that train and make what you make what you like. I think it comes down to that first question that you asked is, I hope they're doing it because they like it. So
Absolutely agree. Shaping Nation, you're going to fail, and that's going to be okay. But learn from those mistakes and keep on growing. The more you grow, the better your pottery is going to turn out, and the more fun it's going to be as well. I absolutely love that. So, something I love about your pottery is that you merge sculptures and functional pieces together. Why do you do this?
I mean, why? Probably just because I have a very maximalist mentality where I just want to keep on adding things to it. And when you're making things, off of a wheel, it's very symmetrical. There's benefits to it. Like, it could be more symmetric. It could be stronger because of the way the clay is being shaped. I feel like the way I go into any of the pieces I make is a very like, and I guess this is my another digital marketing thing is like I'll go online, put it in the search engine. I'll do it for everything from my desktop. I'll look in Instagram, I'll look in TikTok and go into those search engines and then put in like a whale mug, what already exists out there. And like I think a lot of artists, like we don't want to copy anybody. Yes, we are always inspired by everybody, but we want to make our own thing. So I just make sure like if I search a whale mug, how could mine be different? And for I think a lot of the things that are also currently out there, it's like adding that element of hand sculpture, I guess, like that makes it a little bit unique. Or even painting, like there's a new project series I'm working on, and I can't really share it because I don't have anything drawn out or anything like that. But I think when it comes to like even the art that you put on a mug, it could be in any simple shape, but the way you paint it, the way you add your like little elements to it makes it so unique. And I think those are the touches that I like to do. So yeah, both hand thrown sculpture. In the end, it's all handmade. And I think that's to me what's like important is like, is it handmade in the end? Yes, then okay, I did my job.
Absolutely love that. Shape Nation, you don't have to be stuck doing just one thing. You can combine all the things you want to it. It doesn't matter as long as you are enjoying what you're making and you enjoy the end result as well. I love that.
Yeah.
So, can you walk me through the steps you take when creating one of your pots?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I know I just mentioned this, but again, I'll search engine it, make sure that what I think in my head isn't already out there. And a lot, like sometimes it is. And if that's the case, I'll like see, well, how can I make it better? But let's say for the porcupine puff cups that I've been making, that was something like I know there's a lot of great ceramicists, sculpturists, as well as like, mass produced places that make like cute porcupine stuff. So taking what I've seen online, but then I was like, well, then how do I make it a little bit more unique but again, functional. And with porcupine fish or puffer fish, like they got those spines, and how comfortable is it holding? And like I had five or so that I made in the first time, and they hurt so bad because they were way too sharp. And so then just kind of like tweaking it little by little, changing colors, playing with the glazes, all that kind of thing, and then like I like what I have. I think it'll keep on changing a little bit at a time, but yeah, kind of going off of that and making sure that the main features of the animal is also accentuated or highlighted. It's almost like, when you get a caricature drawn of yourself and they like pick out certain features of your face or body that like they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to hone in on that. So, same thing, I think a lot of times when I create anything marine mammal related, I will like look at it and be like, well, this is why this animal is really cool. And then kind of go from there. But also, it's a great way for me to learn more about the animal because, again, I studied marine biology. I worked with a bunch of marine mammals and I know them. But when it comes to other fish species and that kind of thing, it's like a way for me to then just like extend my little circle of like knowledge when it comes to those animals. And I think too, like when I think about these pieces, it's like one, I have to say to myself, I'm like, this is so cool because this animal is so cool. And not that everybody wants to learn from me, but I'm always like, but I want to share my like what I learned to people just because I think it's cool. And seeing that other people also enjoy those facts, like I think that's a great way for me to connect then my pieces with the social side of things. But long story short, yeah, I feel like I like to learn, I like to make, and then I'll just try to project it on my pieces.
Absolutely love that. So, let's talk about the business side of pottery. Can you tell me about the moment when you decided to become a full time potter?
Yeah, well, I got laid off. So originally, my thought, I remember last summer, I was like, I think I could do this. I think I want to do this. But, the corporate life gives you this financial stability and all these benefits that we who live in the United States have to like rely on. But yeah, I started coming up with like my 6 month plan of how to become a full time artist last summer. And I remember being like, okay, my goal originally was like summer, like right now, summer of 2024 was when I was going to put in my 2 weeks, quit my job so then I could just do this full time. Until then, like, save enough, put enough away for emergencies, make sure I know what I need to do on the back end to like support myself. But happened. So I got laid off at the end of the year, and that kind of just pushed me forward to be like, okay, well, you've been doing social and digital media stuff for the last almost 10 years. So what happens if you apply it 100% to what you do? Can you do it on top of doing what you really want to do, which is to be a ceramicist? So I was like, I think I could try this. And then, I'm very fortunate that it has worked in my favor. And I think, again, it's still a learning curve that I'm learning to speak up for my own self, which is so hard because you're constantly, I mean, I'm constantly looking for validation, being like, is this okay? Like, am I doing okay? So, yeah, but all in all, like, again, it's a journey. I'm still trying to figure things out. I'm still making a bunch of mistakes, but it's been so worth it. Like, I am so much happier mentally doing what I love to do. And I think that's what prior to going into this full time, I think I was getting stuck on social media, reading about other people, artists' journeys, and being like, oh, do I get to do this? Like, it's the whole reality versus what is it? The Instagram reality, that kind of thing. And being like, well, can I do it? But I'm lucky enough that I feel like I finally found what I want to do. And I'm so fortunate that so many people enjoy what I do. So that's been like a huge help. So thank you to everybody that has purchased from me and all that kind of stuff, because their support really is like everything. So,
What were you feeling when you got laid off from your company?
well, this last layoff, I think any layoff sucks. Like, it just shows that, you could work at any company, you could be nurtured and cared for by every manager and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, like, you're just a number at a company and they have to let you go if they got to let you go. So I wasn't mad, like an honest to honest thing. Like, again, like, because I wanted to do this new venture, I was like, if I got let go, that's okay. Like, at least I could collect unemployment and figure things out, which again is like another privilege. But I'm very much happy that it happened when it did, because I think that gave me the ultimate push to be like, right, now's your chance. 6 months early, but you got it. So yeah, it made me just be like, okay, go.
So you've mentioned a few times that you started using social media. What is it? What works well for you on social media?
What works well? I mean, I'm only tapping into Instagram currently. I think every platform has every rule, every algorithm, right? So I just make sure what I showcase is what I do. Like, I don't like to do trends. Trending music is, I think, different, but I'm not going to dance for Instagram. I'm not going to do all that kind of stuff just because, like, I would be uncomfortable doing it. And I think that is something that people could see. So for me, I just make sure I stay in my lane of what I set, which is I want to share my pieces, whether it be the work in progress stage, the final product stage, business announcements, that kind of thing. Like, and those are all very much, I think, things that, like, for me, I'm using it mostly as a marketing platform. Like, I I want to connect with, and again, like, I do see everybody that comments, that likes everything. Like, I tend to look into them and be like, who are these people that like my things? Because if they like my things, I feel like, you know, if I feel like I would just like them as well. And sure enough, like, I feel like there's so many scientists and other artists that has reached out, which is, again, like, it validates me to be like, okay, I think I'm doing okay. But yeah, I to go back to your question, I think it just be true to what you why are you doing this? Like, why are you posting on social media? I think is like a question I ask myself. Am I doing it for the follows? Am I doing it for the likes? Like, no, I'm doing it so I could just show my work. And I think that's kind of how I went into it initially. Like when I first started, I was like, I'm just gonna this is just my besides my personal Instagram account, this is just gonna be just my art stuff. So mainly focusing on what I like and just kind of being true to myself, which I think again is what nowadays, like, social media kind of prefers. I don't know, because I feel like half of it's also fake, and you're just like, well, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I'll be true to what I do, all personal. Well, yeah,
What are some simple videos that people can make to start showing off their work more?
a simple video. I feel like again, like, why are you posting it in the first place? I think that's what I would ask first. It's like if you made a mug, and you want to show it off, then show it off. Like, I there's nothing. I think that is again like building confidence is one thing I think on social media, but an easy video is just record and show your mug. Like, that's a lot of mine are like that, right? I don't really care too much about the background. I just want to make sure the piece speaks to itself or to its own. So I just try to showcase what the piece is, and then again, this is where separate from the video, now let's work in the Instagram algorithm. Like, they like it when you use their stickers, their captions, their templates, and their music and that kind of thing. So giving into that, making sure like those things also align with what you're showcasing. And then of course there's hashtags. Sometimes they say don't use hashtags. And I feel like it could go both ways, but why not? A hashtag only helps people that won't find you. I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess, how do you get how do you show up on the search page of Instagram? Like, those tend to be like if you use certain musics or trends or that, like any sort of like so I feel like, yeah, video, quick and easy, then put a little bit more effort into the backgrounds, the captions, all that kind of stuff. But I think as long as you're just showing what you want to show, then that's good, right? Sorry, that was such a long answer for such a short like question.
Absolutely love that. Was some excellent advice right there. I absolutely love that. So let's talk about discovering your voice. Can you tell me about the moment when you knew you were heading in the right direction with your pottery?
Yeah, I mean, again, when you talk about what is the right direction, I feel like I wanted to just make sure that I wanted to make what I wanted to make. Granted, like, again, sometimes I think too much, sometimes I get too indecisive, but I try to go in with a mindset. Like, you'll find me on a couch just like staring off, thinking for a good 30 minutes at a time sometimes, because that's kind of how I brainstorm and process things. But when I think of how I found my way, was really just knowing what I'm passionate about. And I love anything ocean related. I think having the understanding of like what makes certain animals cute, those kind of things, as well as like talking to people. Like, a lot of my friends who are currently still in the marine field, I'll just chit chat with them about like what is so cool about this animal, or things that we used to teach in our like little education programs with kids. It's like, well, what's the difference between sea lions and seals? And again, like all those things, I think like those facts kind of help me make what I want to make. But then going back to, again, the questions prior, it's like, how do I make it functional? Like, how do I make it so it could sit on my kitchen counter that hasn't been cleaned for a few days, but still look cute, kind of thing. So, yeah.
What would you say was your biggest obstacle when it came to finding your own voice?
I feel like the obstacle is like my own judgment on myself. Like, I'll make something that I think is cool, but then because my goal is to make everything functional, sometimes things aren't as functional, which might be like as simple as it's not balanced, it's not It doesn't, you know, it doesn't close, the lid doesn't close comfortably. Those like specific like things I think that product designers are very like good at pinpointing. I'm not a product designer, but I love the idea of like, well, I guess now, right? Like I guess I'm a product designer if I'm creating products. So yeah, like I think the hardest part is my own my own 2 cents and notes. Like again, I have a group chat where I send my friends usually like, this is what I made. Is it cool? What would you change about it? But they might be like, no, that's great, that's good. Or like the glaze, like, what do you think about this color? And they're like, no, I like it. It's cool. But I think I'm the only person that's like, well, I don't know. This might need this, or this might need that. So yeah, I'm holding myself back. But
How do you get past that? What helps you with getting out of your own head?
I can't. I mean, I'm always in my head, I feel like. But I think just like putting it out there, because I think about my first drop I did, I literally was not expecting people to even buy anything. I was like, I'm just going to put it out there and see what happens. Like, and the stuff I had at the time, I was like, this is the best version. But I feel like pieces has changed since then. And I think the people that purchase and so many people have left reviews on my Etsy shop, which I read every single one of them. And I'm just like, okay, this is good. Like, if people like it, that means I'm doing okay. Like, but I think it's okay for myself. I give myself the excuse slash like, I allow myself to tell myself to be like, I could clean this up a little bit better. Like, you know, it is handmade. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I think as a Umi Goods product, I have standards that I'm going to keep. So I think that I want to hold up to. And I think that's what's going to make me also grow as an artist is like, what are my values? What do I think is good? And how do I keep on going? And again, like those are going to be extra mistakes I get to put in my back pocket and then bring out later and be like, I made this mistake and I'm going to fix it this time because I told myself last time that I could. So, yeah.
Absolutely love that. Shape Nation, it's important to have a standard for your own pottery because if you want to meet that standard, and sometimes you may not always meet it, then it's okay to throw away those pieces, but try to meet that standard so you're always making the best work possible. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. Thank
So,
you.
now, what advice would you give to someone looking to discover their own unique voice with their pottery?
Do it, follow it. Like, again, I think there's a good example is, if especially again, since I'm like only focusing on the Instagram social platform, but you go on that thing and you look up all the pottery out there, you will see everything. And I think that in itself is amazing to see an artist that like you could be like, whoa, that's cool. Or like even like seeing a child's artwork, right? Like I think even now I'm currently looking at a refrigerator screen and there's some like paintings from friends' kids and that kind of thing. And it's just like how creative and cute and how personal. And I think I'm not speaking for every artist, I guess I'm just speaking for myself, is like everything I do is going to be personally done. Like I did it specifically for this piece. So whoever purchases this piece, I hope could be like, this person put a lot of effort into this and like that's great. So I don't know. Again, like I just hope people like it because everything I do, at least everything I put out there, I'm like, I think this is good. So finding the confidence though, like that took a long time, I think. And I'm still like trying to find it, but at least the things that I'm like happy about, I'm like, yeah, I did a good job. Thank you. So
Absolutely love that. Hitomi, it's been great chatting with you today. And as we come to a close here, what is one thing you want to hammer with my listeners today?
just do what makes you happy. I think that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. Hitomi, it's great chatting with you today. Where can my listeners go and learn more about you?
They could find me at umi_goods on Instagram.